Hey everyone. This is a interesting technique that you can add low end to a kick drum without using any kind of synthesized low end. I think Pro Tools has many, or even any platform you use has something that adds low end to a sound source. Could be bass guitar, it could be drums. This particular technique doesn't work always, but if the tempo's right and the drum kit's right and the drummer's right, it's unreal. I can't take credit for this. Steve Albini was one of the first guys to show me how to record, and he used to do this on his console. So I was on analog tape for about 13 years of my first records, and when I wanted more low end out of the kick drum, I always had two channels that I would make to add the low end for the kick drum. So this is what I'm going to show you. You can do this in Pro Tools or whatever DAW you work on, Universal Audio. Basically getting the kick drum mic and I'm sending it to an aux. In that aux, I'm going to be using an EQ. Now, because of drummers having sounds like a fingerprint and every kick drum is different, like just as every guitar is and every vocalist, you have to listen to the kick drum. And then I'm basically boosting around 35, which because I use tape, there's something between 35 and 40 hertz that feels really good to me. So I bump that frequency and I cut everything above that. So basically that kick drum is kind of unusable. It would sound terrible. Then that bus, I make another auxiliary, I duplicate it, same EQ. So I have original kick drum, I just made a new auxiliary. That auxiliary has the low end frequencies which I boost. I'm sending that to another aux. And I've duplicated that EQ, so it has identical, whatever I boosted in the low end that I loved, is now going out of two auxiliaries. Then I'm sending the second auxiliary I made, feeding it back in to the first auxiliary. Even though that seems redundant, it basically sends almost like a feedback loop on the EQ. And if I raise it loud enough, it becomes to oscillate. So it just goes, and your speakers look like they're gonna blow. That's the technique. And the way it works best is when you get a good sounding drum set. The tempo isn't too fast, so the low end has time to heal. So like a Bonham-esque, a Zeppelin-esque, a groove, something slow. And this really works great. So I'm gonna play you now the drums without the low end auxiliaries that I've added. And this is just a flat drum set. I have to give credit. This record hasn't come out yet, but it's a band called Spirit in the Room. These are drums, no samples. All the mics that I had showed on an episode with Warren will talk about them. 2 mics, everything. And they're nice enough to permit me to play some tracks on the record that's coming out on Phil from Pantera's label out of Louisiana. And I think it's going to be out next year. So if you like these drums and you dig the thickness of the band, the record sounds pretty incredible. And that's the record I've been working at my new studio pretty much through at least half the pandemic. All right, so here you go. Drums by themselves. Now I'm gonna add in the low end. Now I'm taking the low end out. Now, if you're listening on your phone, you may not be able to hear the sound of how much low in there. So if you put on some earbuds or your favorite headphones, I think you'll be able to feel the weight of the kick drum come in. So I'll just do something where I'm just gonna play the kick drum by itself with no effects on it, and then I'll add in the auxiliaries that I've done so you can maybe get a better idea of what's happening. It's very subtle. It's only meant to be an ear candy to something where if the drum set sounded bad or the drummer didn't sound good, it may not gonna save that, but if you really recorded something that was special and the tempo's right, this definitely works. So here it is with the kick drum by itself. Now I'm gonna add in the low end. Put it a little louder so you'd hear it. I'm gonna add it now. Add in the whole kit. Take it out. So it's a simple technique. Like I said, it's one of the many plethora of things that you can do that aren't necessarily a plugin. I come from an old school world of analog consoles, analog tape machines. To me, in my ears, that sounds like a wonderful, you can even say a tape saturation of low end. But that's also working, coinciding with some master buses that I have on. On the bus of those drums, I have an API 2500 compressor. On the master fader, I have an Allen Smart. So I'm not cheating or giving you the false illusion that those drums sound crazy and I'm so great. No, I've has all the special spices and sauces on that. But when I'm mixing it, that sounds cool. So I'll put a little bit of the music with it so you can hear it in the context of the band. So here's with the low end in, and I'll add some elements of the song. And also give a little prop to that kick drum mic. That's a Bach 195. And it's another, I forgot to even mention that because I don't have my mics here right now. But if you're looking for a kick drum that is the equivalent to the greatest FET 47, go find a Sound Deluxe 195 or a Bach 195. And those mics in particular are one of the greatest vocal mics I've ever used, and kick drum mics. And not a lot, I don't think there's no EQ on that kick drum. So I think they're on eBay for maybe between $700 and $900 to find a Bach mic.